Hey, how's it going? Alex here from IdeaSpot. In today's video, you'll learn how to create a WordPress website with Elementor. So I'll show you exactly how I set up this nice little portfolio website in just a few steps, starting from scratch. By combining WordPress with the Elementor page builder and Elementor hosting, this is an extremely straightforward and streamlined process. Pretty much anyone can learn how to design a website fairly quickly with this method. I've aimed to make this video fairly beginner friendly, so before we get started on the details, let's talk a little bit about why we use WordPress, the basics of web hosting, designing a WordPress website. I'll talk a little bit about search engine optimization and traffic, plugins and features of a website, and then I'll get into the full site creation. First of all, let's talk about why do we use WordPress? Well, WordPress is the market leading platform. 43% of all sites on the web are using WordPress. That is because it's extremely flexible and versatile and cost-effective, scalable for everyone from the smallest hobbyist to the largest e-commerce website. A huge advantage that WordPress has over its competitors is that it's open source and you have full control over your content. This is a big advantage over places like Wix, Squarespace, Shopify. Those kind of places lock you into their platform. There's no way to escape from them unless you completely rebuild the site from scratch on another platform. That's obviously a lot of work and a lot of expense. WordPress allows you to have full control. You can take a copy, a one-to-one copy, take it from one server to another, from one web host to another, completely trouble-free. A lot of places will actually do this for you. When you join them, they'll migrate the website over for you. It's completely seamless. So this is a massive advantage. Another great thing about WordPress is that it's had great search engine optimization built into it out of the box, pretty much from the get-go. WordPress websites have always ranked pretty well in Google, and you can do further optimizations these days with free plugins like Rank Math or Yoast. I actually use Rank Math on my own websites, and both of these plugins have good free versions. So a lot of other places will charge you to do search engine optimization. WordPress really works very well without spending any money. So as a result, WordPress websites are very easy to find in Google, especially for like local businesses that rely on organic search traffic. They do very well by using a WordPress website. So this is an excellent way of growing any business. All right, now we know why WordPress is great for running websites, but why host the website with Elementor hosting? Well, hosting is really the most important expense when you're considering any website project. So you want to make sure you're getting the most bang for buck, the most value with your hosting package as you can get. So this is where I think Elementor hosting has a very good value proposition. So the hosting packages at Elementor hosting start from $9.99 a month, but they include the pro version of the most popular WordPress page builder on the market. To actually buy Elementor Pro just by itself averages out to about $5 a month anyway. So you're getting a lot of added value by getting that included, and you're also getting support for Elementor Pro. Most web hosts are only going to support the hosting side, the back end, so your server security, but they're not going to support the front end like your WordPress page builder and Elementor. So Elementor, the support, I've tried out the support actually myself, and they're very quick, very responsive, and they support not just the front end, they support the back end and the front end. So that's extremely good value when you're looking at comparing Elementor hosting to others. The other thing you're getting is this is going to be hosted on Google Cloud infrastructure. So Elementor have partnered with Google Cloud to host your content on Google Cloud servers. Now, if you were trying to do this by yourself, you're not going to be able to access the level of infrastructure that you're getting here for only $9.99 a month. So really good value and good performance that you're getting from the server and network infrastructure from Google Cloud. And finally, because this is provided by Elementor, the servers are optimized for running Elementor websites already. So a lot of the plugins that you would normally need to configure and install by yourself, such as backups, performance optimization, security plugins, these are already managed by Elementor on the back end. You don't need to add separate plugins for those. A lot of times people want premium plugins for these important features. So you're going to save a bit in those situations as well. You've also got Elementor Pro has forms on it as well. So saves you installing a lot of plugins. Actually, when I run this tutorial, I only use Elementor and Elementor Pro. Those are the only plugins I use for the whole tutorial. So now with the introduction out of the way, let's head over to Elementor and build this thing. So the best place to start is the Elementor website. I'll put a link in the description. You can follow along with this tutorial. Just head to get started there. At this point, you can check out some of the designs. You can even start with one of the designs from here, but I'd like to actually just skip and start with a blank website. I think their best value product is actually this one website basic plan for $9.99. That's what I'm going to use today. They do have other plans through the link down there, but let's go ahead and do this one. Now it's just a case of putting your details in, going through the checkout process and following the prompts. This is all very straightforward. So once you finish this step, I'll meet you in the Elementor dashboard. All right, now that we're all signed up and logged into our My Elementor dashboard, we can start creating our website here. And we'll use the subscription that we just set up here. And we have to make up a site name. And we can enter a name for our site. I'm just going to call it Idea Spot. We can actually change this very easily later. So I'll just put that for now and go next. And now it's asking us to choose an Elementor website kit. So we can choose one at this stage, or we can actually start from scratch as well. And you can always get back to these kits through the WordPress dashboard. I'll show you how to do that as well. So let's start from scratch. And now it's creating our site. So we just have to come back in a second. And now our site is ready. We just have to click Let's Go. And now we can get to our WordPress dashboard with this button here. Open the WordPress dashboard. All right, so this is our WordPress dashboard. So this is going to be just a blank site. If we go here and visit the site, I'll open that in a new window. We'll see this is just going to be the blank Elementor website. So we can actually select a template through this option here, or we can go to templates and there'll be an option for kit library. We can do that in a second. You'll also notice that we've got a temporary domain name. We can change this to a custom domain. I'll show you how to do that a little bit later. Also, the username is a randomly assigned name here. I'll show you how to change that in just a second, but let's start with the kit library. So let's go to templates and look at the kit library. All right, and this loads up our kit library where we can choose a kit to get started with. There's a few categories here like online store, simple websites, portfolio websites, and this new one called wireframe where it's just blank and you can customize them a bit more freely. And you've also obviously got blogs or magazines, which are great in WordPress as well. I think for this one, let's start with something simple. Let's have a look at what is new here. So the one that really catches my eye is this one called Chloe, a personal stylist website. Let's have a look at this. You can view the demo just by clicking on it. That's going to load up a preview of what this looks like. You can have a look at it on tablet and mobile as well here. And just make sure you're happy with it. If not, you can go back to your library. But if you're happy, you can go ahead and apply the kit to your website. It's going to ask to apply everything. We can apply all here. Setting up our kit. We want to enable the unfiltered uploads there and go ahead and let this do its thing. Usually takes a few moments. Great, now the kit is live on the site. We can preview it down here by clicking See It Live. This will show us the template for the header and the footer. It has a blank spot for a logo. We'll do that in a second. If we want to go to the main page, we can go to just click the logo usually. It takes us to the main page. On this case, the template is a stylist, so the actual About Me page is the main page on this particular template. They've also got a page of clients where you can showcase your most successful or interesting jobs that you've done, and you've got your contact form here so people can get in touch with you through the website. So we'll set up all this up. Let's go ahead and let's start with our header with our logo. Let's go ahead and do that. Now to do this, we go over to Edit with Elementor. You'll notice there's a drop-down menu here that has footer, header, site settings, and theme builder. The quickest way is just to go directly to header. And then we'll see our logo here. We can just click that one and we can change the site logo. So this takes us to site identity, where we can actually change our site name, site description, add the logo, and add the favicon. The favicon is that little image that goes on the top of the browser tab there. So we can do all this while we're here. So let's start with the logo. Go ahead. I'm going to upload a file here. I've designed a logo for this project already. I've put that there and the favicon as well. So let's go ahead and upload those onto the site. I'm going to select our logo. That's the one we want to use for the logo. Go ahead and select that. Pay attention to the suggested image dimensions. It's saying 350 by 100. So I'd suggest using that image size if possible. I'm going to go ahead and select the favicon now as well. That's that one there. Go ahead and select that one. And we can change the site description. It says just another Elementor hosted website. I might change that to upgrade your style. There we go. That looks pretty good. And I think we're ready to go. We can click update there and it says changes will be reflected only after saving and reloading the preview. So we can actually reload the preview here. We should get our logo and our favicon and our new site description. So there we go. It looks like our logo is in the template now. If you're curious about how I did the logo, I just did the logo over on canva.com using a free account. That was just a simple text-based logo there. The favicon I got from favicon.io, just generated a simple favicon. So that was fairly straightforward if you want to use that method. If you're curious how I found out the actual background color and the font to use, you can actually go back. I think I was under, we're actually here under site settings. I'll show you how to find that. If you are in your Elementor editing tab there on the hamburger menu, you'll find site settings, and that will show you where global colors and fonts are. So global colors, you've got your background color there. In this case, you can copy the HTML code, and also we have our global fonts. If we check the primary font there, we can see it's DM Serif Display, which is the one we used for our logo to match up consistently. What I might do is actually load up the website in a new tab and just make sure it's all loading up properly here. So we've got our logo there. That looks cool. We've got our favicon. So that worked out according to plan. While we're talking about colors and fonts, let's have a deeper look at how Elementor handles global colors and fonts. So for example, if we are looking at our fonts here, we can see that's our primary font. Let's say we wanted to change a font across the whole website. For example, the body text, let's select that one. We can see it's called Inter. Let's change it to something else. For example, let's do something silly like Irish Grover and click update. And now we can see when we reload our website, anything that was flagged as body text is going to change from Inter to Irish Grover like we see there. So that's an easy way to change fonts right across the whole website and modify your style to your preference. So I'm going to go ahead and actually change that back to Inter. I generally like to just keep the original design just to save time, because there's obviously been a professional designer put a lot of work into this. So I like to keep it by default most of the time. We can do the same thing with global colors as well. So let's select global colors. And then let's be silly and change our primary color to a shade of red there. Go ahead and click update. And now if we actually go back to our site and reload, we can change anything that was set to the primary color is now red. So headings, we've got the header there, we've got the border around there. You can really change the look of the site quite quickly by changing the primary color. Obviously we don't want red. I think it looked just fine with white there. So we can actually just roll that back to white. There we go. And update again. So you can quite quickly play around with different shades right across the whole website without doing too much work by using global colors and global fonts. All right, so that covers editing the logo and the favicon. Now let's talk about the other important part of the header, the menu here. So again, let's head back to Edit with Elementor and our header. This is going to load up our Elementor editor here, and then we can actually edit our header template here. So we've done our logo already. So let's look at our menu here. So if we click our menu, and we can actually see the content here is the primary menu. I'll show you how to edit the actual content of the primary menu in a minute as well. But first, let's look at the style. So the style is basically the typography. You can set that to one of our global fonts that we talked about earlier in the video. So if I wanted to have it as the secondary menu style font, we could do that there. You could set it to your body text font if you wanted to. I like it as its default nav menu, and we can tweak that styling as well with that pencil icon there. If we wanted to change the size a little bit, if we wanted to change the font family, we can choose any font we want through there. And then to change the color, we can click off the typography there and you'll find text color there. You can choose one of the global colors there that we set up earlier. So if I wanted to do that accent, we could do that, for example. I like it set as the primary color, or you can even choose a custom color there where you can pick any color you want. It's also important to realize that there's really three parts of the typography when we look at a menu here. We've got our normal, we've got our hover color, which when we hover, we can see it turns to the yellow color. And our active, when we've actually loaded that page, it's going to be sitting as the active color. So we can have that as yellow when it's active, or we can have it as a separate color as well. And we can change that when we hover it if we wanted to have a slightly different color when we hover. So if we change it to purple, it would change to purple there. It's not very good color because you can't see it when you're hovering it, but you could pick whatever you'd like in this example here. I'll just put it back to the accent color. I think generally, because I'm just a dumb engineer, I like to keep the designer stuff as it is. It also saves me work. And when you're happy with your changes, we can go ahead and click update there. The other thing you might want to look at is the content of the menu itself. Now, this is a little bit different. If we go back to content, it says go to the menu screen to navigate, to manage your menus. So that's going to take us back to our WordPress menus section here. So this is where WordPress controls its menu structure. In this case, we're looking at the primary menu of this website. And here we can actually add pages to our menu. At the moment, we only have 3 on the menu: about, clients, and contact. I might actually just show you what I mean again on our page. You can see about, clients, and contact there. If I wanted to say add that sample page, I could just select that one, All the most recently built pages are going to be on there. You can view all the pages by clicking view all there. You can also add things like blog posts, custom links, and categories with those drop downs as well. I might just go ahead and add the sample page, for example, here. Then we click add to menu, and that's going to add that sample page to our menu. If I click save, I can actually reload the page here, and it should show the sample homepage in our menu now. So you get the idea. If we build a new page, we can put it in there as we like. So, and we can also customize how it looks. If I didn't want it to say sample homepage, I could just make it say sample, and you can rename it as you like as well. So that looks a little bit neater. And there we go. So that's how we do that. And if you want to reduce the number of items in the menu, just click that little drop down arrow there. You can click remove, and that will get rid of it. And we click save, and then we reload our page. We should be back to how it was. Now I will show you how to make your own pages from scratch a little bit later in the video, but I think now after doing the header, let's have a look at the footer. So this is a similar process. We go back to edit with Elementor there, look at the footer there, and there we go. This will load up the footer template. And similarly, we can edit our footer with these tools here. That's fairly straightforward. For example, if you want to change the text, you just click it, you can delete it, change it as you wish. You can actually change the styling in the same way that we changed our styling there. You've got your color and your typography. You can go ahead and change that as you'd like to do it. That's pretty straightforward. Let's have a look at these icons. If we wanted to select those, let's hit the edit button there. And you've got social icons. So let's say I don't have a Twitter, so I'll delete the Twitter. And we can go and actually customize the link there by selecting it. You can change the HTTPS to your Facebook page there. And when you're happy with that, you can go ahead and click update, get your social icon set up the way that you like to use social media. In my case, I'm a YouTuber, so I would go with YouTube down there and change the link to my YouTube page here. Just paste that in. My YouTube is at channel/idea spot there. If I click update, that's all done. You'll also notice that you can actually upload custom SVG icons as you like. If you have your own icon you'd like to use, you can add custom items as well. So you can have your own icon list at the bottom of your footer as well. So fairly easy to do. If we go back to our page and reload it, we can probably see that the YouTube will have a link over to my YouTube there. So if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube, you should go ahead and do that right now, or give us a like as well if you already have, or both. Either way, thanks very much. Again, you can stylize these as well to your own preference there with the size, the color as well there, spacing, those kind of things you can customize as you wish. So yeah, have a play with that. I like leaving these sort of things as default. I feel like it's difficult for me to improve on someone's design. And finally, you're not limited to just these items. You can actually add as many elements as you want to your footer here. If we go back to Elementor elements with that icon there, you can add any things you want there. If we wanted to drop a button in there, for example, we can totally do that. Let's center it, and you could put whatever you want as that, for example. So lots of things you can add to your footer using any of the elements in Elementor. So I might just delete that because I just like how it is originally, and let's go ahead and save it. Great. So at this point, if we go back to our page, we can see we've finished our header and our footer, and these are repeated on all of our pages now. So we can have our header and footer will be automatically added to all our pages using those header and footer templates that we've been working on. So now that we've covered the top and the bottom of the website with our headers and footers, we can actually look at changing the main body of the content here. This is really the fun part, and this is where Elementor really shines from what I think. So we can actually load up this page. Just click edit with the Elementor. This is going to allow us to edit the content of this actual page. All right, so here we are in the Elementor page builder, and we can see we've got our main page, the About Me page in this case, and the page is made up of these containers. So the first container here below our header is this one here. I'm Chloe and I'll design your future. And if we go down to the bottom here, we've got our navigator. We can see how many containers this is made up of. So we've got the 5 containers here. We can click them. It'll scroll down. We can see this is the one where you've got your 4 little dot points of info there. Same with the next one down there. And then Success Stories has a little one there, and that's the services button. And then My Story has one here as well. So you've got your story, you've got your picture. And so this is all really quite easy to edit. You can edit the containers. You can drag the containers and move them to different positions on the page. For example, if I wanted the button to be like upper level there, you could just drag it up if you wanted to. I'll put it back where it was, and you can edit what's in them. You can create new containers as well. I'll show you how to do all of these things. Basically, you can edit an existing container very quickly by clicking on any of the content. You can change text just by changing it. So in case I'm not Chloe, my name might be Alice, so I can just change the text by clicking on it. You can change the pictures by clicking on the picture and choose a new picture. And also we can actually add elements to the container as well. So if we click on that little icon there, we can add elements, or sometimes they're called widgets. I like to call them elements on Elementor, but you can just drag things in. So if I wanted to have a new heading below the girl there, I can just drag that in there, change the alignment to the center, and I could add that to the container. So there's lots of things we can do. I can Control Z to undo things as well. That's all pretty easy. You can actually have an undo history there with our little timer there, and you can actually go back to any point in your editing history as well. So there's lots of safety in terms of going back and forward in your editing process. You can also move things around, copy them. So if I like this section with the dots and I wanted an extra one, I could actually duplicate it and that will create a new one. You can drag them as well. You can just hold it and drag it down into another part of the page, and that will move it around as well. So you can do it that way. And the other thing I should show you is if you really want a different kind of a layout, you can actually add a container that will add it above the one you just clicked on there. You can click on the add here. If you can add a section here, and you can just start building a section by dragging in elements into the column. So we can just do that. And that will automatically add it'll use your global styling by default there. So that's really quite easy to do. I can choose an image out of my media library there, and that's a fairly quick way to add a section. The other way you can do it, there's some really nice pre-designed templates in here as well. So if we click the folder there, when we add a template, there's lots of pre-designed things in here. So if I wanted to say add a call to action, and if I scroll down here, find something that might suit the site, insert that one with the bicycle picture. And in this case, these ones have their fonts and colors set up. So what I'd do if I was using this method with the pre-designed templates, I'd click them and I'd just stylize them so that they're global typography and colors there. So I'd just do it like that. And go through each one, click it, go to the style, change the text color to the primary, and then change the typography there to the whatever secondary looks good there. And this one here, again, go ahead and change our text color. I might use the accent for that one just to be a little bit different. And the typography, I'll use the accent text. So that's one way of doing things. If you want something that you can't quite find on the page already, you can use one of the library templates as well. The bicycle doesn't really fit the theme of this page, so I'll just use one of the things from the media library in there too. So just pop that one with the girls there. And so that is another nice way of adding in a container. And I think I'll just remove those just so we can go back to the default style there. I'll just hit the X on them. That will remove them. I really prefer just using the blocks that come with the site and then just change them as I need. So for example, if I really liked that one there, I'll just copy it with the right click, duplicate it, drag it to where I want it. You can even have two pages open on different tabs and copy and paste them into different tabs as well. So lots of ways of getting around this. And the beauty of using the ones that are already designed is they look great on every device already. You can click the device's responsive mode there, and you can have a look at it desktop. You can have a look at it on tablet. You can have a look at it on mobile. Everything is beautifully presented on all devices straight out of the box here. So I think as much as you can, stick to these SiteKit templates because they already look awesome, and you're going to be much more efficient with your work when you stick to what they've got here and just change the content to suit. So now that we've got the basic skills to work on our page, headers and footers, let's go ahead and just add a new page to our menu here and let's customize a new page. So what I would do in this situation, hit the hamburger there, go back to exit there, click leave, and we can go back to our WordPress dashboard here. Let's go to pages and that'll load up our list of pages. And with these site kits, I find I get the quickest results by duplicating my favorite existing page and then customizing it to the content of the new page. So what I would do in this case, I really like that home page with the About Us info on it. I'd go to more options there, and you can duplicate the page quite quickly by doing that. And it'll make a copy there. What I would call this one, say, let's call it services, and click done. And now it's called services. It's set as draft on Elementor there. And now we can go click edit with Elementor. That's going to load it up. And for this page, what I'd probably do is I'd delete this top container there. These dot points would be nice for our services. And if I scroll down, I might like this My Story thing to be up the front of the page. And I could actually just call that our services. So I just call it that, our services. And then what I'd do is I'd change the main image here to something else suitable for the services page. For example, I might just go with these girls here, probably look all right. You can always upload your own files, obviously, when you're making a custom page. So that looks pretty cool. So we've got our services here, and then we can start listing our services down in these dot points there. So I might call this one like hairstyles, for example. So just click on it, and then you could go ahead and change the title there to hair styles. And in this case, we've actually got that circle there, but you can actually go to the icon library and you can choose other kinds of logos here. If you don't like the circle logo, we can go with, say, let's go with this one. And you can just change that as you wish. Fairly easy to do. I'm going to Control Z. Just stick with the original design. I think is quite quick. Again, change the body text there. You can go in there and edit that text. So that's all quite easy. One thing I haven't shown you is how to add links. So let's say we wanted to add a link in our services in the paragraph there. You could select any of these words in our text editor. You can add a link as well. So you can just put a link to any website in there. Say I'd link it to ideaspot.com.au. You just paste that in and hit enter. And now we can see we've got a link, and that changes color when you hover it, and it's the accent color in our global colors. So that's really quite nice. You can add links wherever you need. You can change the header to a link as well by pasting a link into the link field there. And then let's go ahead and hit publish. And that will make a new page in our website. We can go and actually have a look at the page. Now we've got our services page. It's not in the menu here. We can actually add that to the menu if we want as well. So we go back to our dashboard. We can actually go back to our menus as well. So that's in our WordPress dashboard under Appearance, Menus. And you can also get there through the Elementor method that we showed before in the video as well. But we've got our 3 there. And now we can actually see Services is in there. And we can actually add that to the menu. And that's at the bottom of the menu. So that will be the, if we have a look at our page, where will that be? They're in order. About clients in contact. So about clients in contact. If we wanted services to be at the end, we'd leave it there, or you could drag it. If you want it to be the second item on the menu there, just put it in the second slot there, save the menu. And now if we reload our page, we can see we've got services in there. If we click that, we can see our services page that we just built. So we can just see just how efficient it is to create websites using the site kit from Elementor. That covers the most of the main skills we need to learn. What I would like to do now is get this ready to actually publish. So there's a couple of things I'd like to do. Change this to our custom domain, and also change my username to a custom username as well, because we've got random domain and a random username there. So let's go back to our dash. I'll show you how to do those things. First thing I'll do is go to users. And this is pretty easy to change. We just go to edit on that user there, and we've got a nickname. It's displayed as the random name. And in my case, I'll just change that to Ideaspot and display it publicly. I want to save it first, update the profile, and then we can actually display it publicly as well as Ideaspot. There we go. And update. That looks all good. And to change to a custom domain, now this is going to take a few steps. We're going to go back to our myelementor.com dashboard here. We've got our Ideaspot website that we're working on. We're going to manage this website. So the management page has a couple of important features. Site lock is on here. At the moment, site lock is on. So while we're editing our new template, we can lock it so visitors can't see it until it's ready. We can turn it off when we're ready. I might do that in a second, but what I want to do right now is manage the domain. So you can actually buy a domain if you don't have one already. That will give you a custom domain. I already have one, so I'm going to use a custom one. if you already purchased your own domain, you can connect your domain with that link here. In my case, I bought a domain a while ago over on namecheap.com. That's my favorite place to buy domains. Ideaspot.space is what we're going to use for this demo. So I'm going to use that domain, paste it in here. That's the domain name. Set Ideaspot space as my primary domain name, and also connect the www Ideaspot space. Let's begin. It's going to say sign into your domain provider. In that case, mine is Namecheap, but it's pretty similar on GoDaddy or wherever else you bought your domain from. So I'm signed in already. I signed in. What's next? Find your domain settings page. So in the case of Namecheap, that is under your domain, under domain list. And in my case, I am under the details of Ideaspot space. So that's what we're going to be using today. So found it. What's next? Find your DNS records. So in this case, in Namecheap, it's going to be we're using Namecheap's basic DNS, and we're going to go to advanced DNS. And this is where we can add DNS records. Found them. What's next? We're going to add these records. So this is the tricky bit. If you've never done this before, make sure you get this part right. First of all, we've got an A record pointing to the root. That's as that symbol there, and it's going to point to the IP address. So let's do that in our Namecheap DNS. So we're going to add a new record, A record, host is points to our IP address, and we click the tick there. The CNAME www is on that parking page at the moment. So if you've got anything like that, we can just go ahead and delete it. Usually get those when you've got a fresh domain that you just bought. It'll be parked somewhere. So that A record looks good. And a new CNAME record for www. It's going to point to this subdomain of Elementor Cloud. That's our random subdomain that got generated when we set up the web page. So let's go ahead and do that. So we add a new record. That was the CNAME, and that's for www. And it points to our random subdomain on Elementor Cloud. Click the tick there to save that all in, and that looks all good. Let's head back to our Elementor page. We've updated our records, connect my domain. So now it's going to think for a minute here and sit back while we finish things up. We've sent an email when it is live on your website. So this does take usually an hour, typically about half an hour in my case on Namecheap. Sometimes it can take up to 72 hours. I've never had it take that long. Most places will update their DNS records within 1 or 2 hours at worst. But anyway, when we get that email, we're ready to go. I'll come back, pause the video, and come back when our domain is ready. All right, I'm back. It's been 15 minutes, so this should be all good. I've actually already received the email saying this has worked, so that seems good. You can also check on dnschecker.org. I like to do this test. Just put in your domain name and hit search, and it should be hitting that IP address that we asked us to change it to previously. That number matches up with that number here. So that looks like it's working well all around the world. We can head back to our dashboard, and there we can see our custom domain, Ideaspot.space is in there. And by default, it's set it to Ideaspot.space as our primary domain, and the old one is now a secondary domain there. We can also use the www.ideaspot.space if we wanted to use the www, but I prefer running it without that, but it's really a personal preference there. I talked about this previously. I think .com and .net, those kind of old style domains look better without www, and some of these newer ones like .space or .shopping or something might look a little bit more readable with www, because it's not always obvious to some people that this is a web URL. I'm going to leave mine just as it is, but if you want to change it, you can set the www as primary. What I might do is just head over on the new tab there and go to ideaspot.space, hit enter, and it's going to say, sorry, this website is hidden right now. That's because our site lock is on. We can actually turn that off if we want. Heading over to our site lock, there it is there. You can have a PIN code there, and you can actually turn it off with that toggle there. So let's unlock the site, and this should unlock our site. And now when we go back to our site, once this is done, we can actually reload it. It does take a few seconds for that to turn off, but when it does, we can head over to our site again. I'm going to head to Ideaspot space, and yeah, now it is working. It might take a few seconds or a minute or so for that to actually work, but now we can see our website at our custom domain. That is just using the root domain there. If we add www, it's still going to work there, but it's just going to redirect back to the www, non-www name there. So both are actually working, but it defaults to not using www. So I like that behavior there, and everything is working as we set this up in our editing tutorial. So quite like how this is running. That's basically all we need to do to get our website working. Now that our domain is working, if we head back to our Elementor dashboard and head back to our websites, what we can do when we open our WordPress dashboard now, what we'll see is rather than having that random Elementor cloud address, we are now on our custom address there. All right, now before we wrap this up, I'll go through a few other WordPress basics that you'll need to understand from your WordPress dashboard if you haven't used this too much now. We've been through the pages, creating pages, duplicating pages already. The media library, we didn't really touch on that completely in detail, but basically all the images that came with your site kit in here, you can always add new images, new video and sound into here. And the other thing you might want to look at is plugins. By default, we just have Elementor, Elementor Pro, and you've got a log file there. You are actually free to add anything from the WordPress repository to your Elementor site. So you've got full access to the WordPress plugin repository. These are all free. A lot of them will have premium versions as well. But this is another great aspect of WordPress. This ecosystem of plugins that you can access for free is extremely valuable. You'll notice your Elementor dashboard actually has a hosting thing here, and that will take us through back to our Elementor dashboard. Probably the one you want to be familiar with is backups. If we hit backups, it's going to take us back to our Elementor dashboard. And basically we can see we've got backups here. It's doing automatic daily backups. As we can see by default, if you want to make a manual backup as well, you can create a new backup here, give it a name and back that up. Usually if you're doing a major update or creating something new, you might want to back that up before you get started so you can roll it back if something doesn't go how you really wanted it to go. I always like to make a backup before I install any new plugins as well, just in case the plugin doesn't quite do what I want it to do, and I can just roll it back and get it how everything was before. One other nice feature WordPress has is posts. Now, this particular site kit doesn't use posts, so we've just got the default Hello World post there. This site that we built is completely made up of pages. Now, I'll talk about the difference between pages and posts. And what we've got on our site is just pages, so we can see our pages are here. And these are really pages are for content that isn't going to change too often. It's going to be fairly static. And posts are for when you'd like to add content regularly and keep the site updated with fresh things, but you don't want to have to create a whole page. You just want to use a template to do the content. Probably the best way to illustrate what I'm talking about is if we look at our site kits again. So if you go back to our dashboard and under templates, you can look at the kit library. I've loaded that up here already. At the moment, what we are using is one called Personal Stylist. That one is a portfolio style web page. So that just uses pages. But if you want to use posts, choose one from blog or magazine. I've actually done a video where I set up this health blog previously. I can link to that in the description, but that one is called From Cloud to Kit, Elementor Tutorials, where I set up that ideal health and wellness blog. But basically with these blogs, what you'll get is a website that has posts. So this food blog, for example, you've got our main hero image here, title, and then you've got these blog posts. And these blog posts are all templated content. So if we look at this one, Secret to a Vegan Baklava, you can see you've got your title, your date, the excerpt there, featured image, and then you've got your content. So basically all you do, rather than designing this all in Elementor bit by bit, all you have to do is go into your post editor, put your title, your content, add a featured image in there, and then Elementor automatically templates it into that nice format. So you can quickly add content as a template format rather than building a page from scratch. So this is a quick way to add content if you're happy with it all following the same format. So this is the baklava recipe. This is the green gnocchi in pesto sauce. You can see it's exactly the same format: title, date, excerpt. You've got your featured image and your content. So this is all quite simple to do once you've got your template set up. I've shown how to do that in that previous video, which I'll link to as well. So that's another way of doing things in WordPress, which is very effective for content creators. So that basically wraps it up. We've covered the main essentials to getting started with Elementor and WordPress. I mean, this looks really nice straight out of the box, and you can see how quick and efficient it was creating a site kit and then editing with Elementor. No code needed, very user-friendly. Obviously, if you're interested in trying out Elementor, I've got that link in the description, so check that out if you're interested. Otherwise, I'd recommend you watching the blog video that I set up previously, that one, where you can learn how to do some of the more advanced features in Elementor as well. But thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.